Hello, everyone. Happy Monday from SRT, and it is my pleasure to welcome you today to the first SRT Study in USA webinar. In the next coming 10 days, we'll be hosting some top universities, community colleges, and some very specific institutions offering everything from business to arts, design, engineering. So we hope you stay with us throughout those 10 days and enjoy. You can see our upcoming schedule on the button we're about to share, and you will be able to find a lot of useful information during today's webinar, such as brochures and links to their website. So keep an eye on the right-hand side of your screen. You can also send your questions to the presenters today. And without further ado, I would like to let you know that today we'll be hosting three very different backgrounds. We have Bentley University with Karen Karandoyanis. We have SCAD with Olivia Anderson, and we have Loyola Marymount University with Christy Culp. So I will give a few seconds to see everyone's beautiful morning faces, I believe, because you guys are connecting from the US. Good morning. How are you doing? Lovely to have you. So we have Christy, Olivia, and Karen who will share some very exciting information about their university. We will start, though, with a generic presentation on why studying in US. You saw at the beginning a video of Education USA, and we were talking about some steps. So Scott Simonson from Education USA office in Belgrade will actually be able to develop more information on those steps. Hi, Scott.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you for having us. I would like to see how many of you are watching us from Serbia. I've seen today we have a super international audience, so just let us know where you guys are watching us from, and we hope you're able to connect with your local Education USA advisor. So Scott, the floor is all yours. Let's hear on those steps, and we hope we get a lot of students excited in studying in the US. And after that, we'll hear from the three universities. Enjoy and welcome again.
All right, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I am just going to present really quickly more about Education USA and a little bit about studying in the US to hopefully help give you all some good information. First, what I want you to know is Education USA is a global organization. We have over 425 centers in more than 175 countries. We are certified by the US State Department's Bureau of Cultural and Educational Affairs, and we partner with local embassies in the countries where we have offices. And what this means is that we represent all of the accredited universities in the United States. Okay, so we're not going to try and focus on specific universities. We're going to help our advisees find the university that is best for them. We are a group of advisors who go through a lot of training in our countries and also in the United States. And we advise students throughout the entire application process, those 5 steps that you saw before. How we do it? Well, we follow these 5 steps first that you saw more in that video. And for each step, we go much deeper into it with our advisees. So there's a lot of extra information that you will need to gather along the way, and that's what we help with because it can get confusing quite quickly. So there's a good question, is why should you study in the United States? Well, there's many reasons, but a few that I want to talk about are first the quality of the education that you'll get in the United States. For a long time, the US has been known as a place with great institutions, great education. And if you are looking for a very high quality education, you can definitely feel comfortable studying in the United States. Next has to do with choice. There are higher education institutions all across the country and different types of institutions and hundreds of different programs or degrees that you can study for. So it really is the breadth of choice that you have when you study in the United States is quite amazing. Next is value. When you study in the United States, you are making a very strong investment in your future. because not only will you get the amazing education which will help you throughout the rest of your life, but you'll also, when you graduate, get a degree that is valuable back home or perhaps in a different country if you wish to find employment in a different country, perhaps elsewhere. So this a degree from the US is recognized in a lot of places. And finally, flexibility. This is what I really appreciate about the US system, is how flexible it is. Even as international students, at most schools, you can enter undecided. That means you have not yet decided what you want to focus on. And this gives you the ability to sort of take some classes and see what you really appreciate, like what you really want to study, and then you can decide what you want to study. Or you can start at one school, such as a community college. You can finish a couple of years at the community college and then transfer to another university and get your 4-year degree that way as well. So the system is quite flexible. Also, there's over 1 million international students studying in the United States each year. So when you enter a university, you will be surrounded by students coming from all over the world, and you'll get this opportunity to interact with and learn about people who are coming from places much different than where you're coming from. So it won't just be Americans that you'll interact with, but also other international students as well. Your undergraduate study, the first 4 years of your university life in the United States, most schools are going to offer you what is called a liberal arts and sciences education. And what this means is that basically you'll have a broad education. You'll have your focus, for example, biology, but you'll also be required to take classes outside of your focus, such as if you're studying biology, you may be required to take a history class or an art class or a writing class. And what this does during those first 4 years is it gives you the broad education, which really helps you develop your critical thinking skills. And these critical thinking skills are going to be of great service to you throughout the rest of your life. And just a quick term, maybe just in case you're unfamiliar, the common term in the United States is major. You'll often hear students ask, like, what's your major? That means, what is your focus? Like, is it biology, creative writing, comparative religion, something like this. Many of the courses will be just 1 semester long. And also there are different types of schools: public universities, private universities, community colleges, just to name a few. And I just want to make it very clear, like in the US, we don't have a distinction between the value of the school based on whether it's a public school or a private school or a community college. All of these schools are going to offer a very high quality education. Okay, so that's not something to consider is like, what's better, a public school or a private school? You don't need to worry about that. Really quick about completing your application, we do recommend to our advisees that you begin 12 to 18 months in advance of when you want to start at a US university. And the only reason is because there's so much available for you to choose from. It's actually going to require quite a lot of research on your part. And of course, we are here to help you throughout that process. So that's why we say start early to make sure that you get your research done. If you need to take standardized tests like the SAT or the TOEFL, for example, you can get those done on time. All right, preparing your application on time. Now, every school is going to have its own application requirements, but some common components that you should be prepared to get ready are the application form itself, your high school transcripts, like grades from high school, You might need to take the SAT or the ACT or the English language proficiency tests, one of these. You also want to be thinking about a letter of recommendation from a teacher or teachers who basically write that you are a quality person who should be admitted into the school. Yeah, there's a very good possibility you'll need to write an essay, talk about your extracurricular activities, and maybe more. All right, so again, why start early in this process is because there's a lot of like small variations between different schools, and you'll want to make sure that you have everything organized and researched and perfect so you can make your best application. So what should you do now with Education USA? If you've never interacted with us before, the first thing you should do is find a local advising center. And you can do that by visiting our website. Look for Find an Advising Center, and then in location, on this next page, just look for your country and to determine if there's an advising center nearby. And then you should contact your advisors. And it's best to contact the advisors from your country because they know the most about students from your country. And they'll be able to tell you about any opportunities available to you as well. And finally, in these strange times, we have also adapted quite well to virtual work and virtual advising. So that does give us some flexibility in our abilities to advise and offer services. So we are ready if you have your busy school schedule or outside of school schedule. So I just want you to know that we are ready and we are here to help. So that's it from me. Thank you, everyone. Good luck. Next, you will hear from Karen Karidoyanis from Bentley University. Thank you.
The first thing I would say to any prospective Bentley parent is that I have walked, and I'm still walking in your shoes. I have two sons, one of whom is still in the college process. I remember well those campus tours, that really tough decision-making process. As you look at Bentley, I think there's so much here. We have a great community of students who are really focused on learning and growth and development. Outsiders who look at us say, this is a place that's really up and coming, that has a lot of value. One of the places that value derives from is Bentley's unique approach to education, which it developed before it was cool to integrate business and liberal arts. We have a wonderful curriculum. At Bentley, we have one faculty that works together across that boundary. Bentley's location, in my mind, is a huge strategic advantage. We are in the most well-known higher education corridor in the world. The great area that we're in Boston and Waltham, that's very dense with employment opportunities. I think the ideal student experience is one where you have a very serene campus where students can be a little bit away from the hustle and bustle of major cities and really interact and have a vibrant student life. One of the easiest ways for that to happen is to have a city nearby that's vibrant, that has multiple sectors where students can get internships, and Bentley's been really good about taking advantage of that. It's also very important, especially for a business university, that our students graduate and enter the world of employment, and Bentley's placement statistics are really second to none over a long period of time. If you come to Bentley, we have a long track record of putting students in very high quality jobs that are associated with their interests. The purpose of this institution is to train students who can go out into society and make an impact.
Hello, everyone. My name's Karen Karidianis, and I'm the Director of International Admission at Bentley University. Let me tell you a little bit about Bentley. Bentley was founded in 1917 as an accounting school by Harry Bentley. It was originally located in downtown Boston, and in 1967 moved to Waltham, Massachusetts, approximately 13 kilometers or 15 minutes away from Boston. Bentley, as you can see from its rankings, we are second to none. We're ranked number 2 in the Northeast region by US News and World Report. Business Week has ranked us number 10 in the United States for being one of the best business schools. We have over 4,200 undergraduate students, 1,300 graduate students, a small student-teacher ratio of 1 to 11, of which 16% of our student population are international students, representing nearly 100 different countries in the world. So why choose Bentley? We are a business university, which makes us distinctive. Today's world is built on business, and whatever field or industry you choose to enter, a background in business is a foundation that will serve you well. Many of our students want to major in business because they aspire to work in finance, marketing, or management, and those are certainly core aspects of business. But the skills our students have learned have led to a number of exciting non-traditional careers, like developing new footwear designs for athletic brands such as Converse, working for nonprofits like the Red Cross to aid with disaster relief, and taking active roles in the government organizations to develop sustainable energy regulations. So this is our philosophy of teaching at Bentley. As you can see from the pyramid here, we start off with general business core courses. As EducationUSA noted, students that come to Bentley don't need to declare their major. This gives them an opportunity to get an idea of what type of careers are out there. They understand the value of business, and by having these general education core courses in business, it provides them with a greater opportunity when they get out into the real world. Then we have our general ed courses. Why? Because at the same time, we believe the arts and sciences has a value and is an integral part of a well-rounded education. The arts and sciences expand your critical thinking research skills. Therefore, Bentley is very committed to the integration of business and arts and sciences. As illustrated at the top of the pyramid, there's the optional second major. You have 8 concentrations in which you can select your general education core courses in to declare a second major at Bentley. These are our majors. As you can see, we have 26 majors, 35 minors, and those with an asterisk designate our STEM fields. Surprising to see so many coming from a business university, but business has a multitude of industries and careers. My apologies. So let's talk a little about technology. At Bentley, we've invested $360 million in our high-tech facilities. As you can see listed here, we have 7 of them. There is no other university in the United States that has all these 7 high-tech facilities in one location. While I can go into detail about all of them, there is a link for you to learn more, but I do want to tell you about one, our simulated stock market trading room. It's our most impressive high-tech facilities. It has 24 Bloomberg terminals. You see the stock market from every country in the world, and it's the only high-tech facility that has security clearance from the United States government, so it can go live and is the official backup to the New York Stock Exchange. So how do we integrate business, the arts and sciences, and technology? It's through the concept of experiential learning. And at Bentley, we do this in 4 distinctive ways. Through study abroad, where we have programs that allow you to study for a week, a semester, or an entire year. We offer 85 programs in over 30 different countries, so you can come to Bentley and go to the London School of Economics or the University of Nevada. We also have a very unique faculty-led program, which is 10 days long, and it allows students to take what they're learning into the classroom and bring it to the real world. Some of our recent courses have included health challenges in Ghana, Africa, or global tourism in Croatia. Another way of experiential learning is through our community service. And our community service is not only an opportunity to apply what you're learning into the real world through service, nationally, regionally, or internationally, but it's also an additional course credit that you can add to any course in order to enhance the learning in the classroom. In addition, we have something unique to Bentley, and that is our corporate partners. Through these corporate partnerships, students can experience firsthand through the lens of a particular country or industry. Students take the expertise they learn in the classroom and are able to help companies address business challenges and launch new products. Each student at Bentley, before they graduate, are going to have the opportunity to have at least one course that has a corporate partnership with it. And last but not least, what we're most known for is our internships and career service center. I'm proud to share with you that Bentley is ranked number 3 out of 4,000 universities in the United States for having the best career service center in the country. And since 2011, we have always ranked between number 1 through 4. We're also ranked number 4 for having one of the best internship programs in the country. Once again, that's out of 4,000. And in this situation, our students have had at least 85% of their internships with pay, with average starting salaries of $20 to $25 an hour. More than 50% of our students are actually even using their internships to gain their career opportunities. Here are just a few of the companies that are hiring Bentley students following their internships. Here is a list of them all. Take a second to reflect on those, but let me tell you, Bentley is not just about academics. We also are very active with athletics, offering Division I and Division II sports and over 100 different student organizations and clubs on our campus. In fact, we have 97% of our students living on our campus and 87% actively involved in organizations and clubs. Here is our application process at Bentley. We have over 20 varsity sports teams, as I mentioned before, my apologies. So what do we look for in a student? We look for character, academics, and extracurricular activities. In fact, these are our application requirements. We require the common application form, 2 letters of recommendation, an official secondary school transcript, as well as your first semester senior grades, standardized test results. And I want to draw attention to this. Our standardized test results are going to be test flexible for the 2021-2022 year. So you do not need to submit SAT, ACT exams. We will not require them. We're going test optional for that year. We also require, however, the TOEFL, the IELTS, or the Duolingo exam. Finally, merit scholarships. I know this is important to many of you. You do not need to submit a second application in order to receive a merit scholarship. At Bentley, your application to the university is automatically your application for a merit scholarship. And our scholarships go up to full tuition. In fact, 70% of our international students receive some type of merit scholarship. We also have a Women's Leadership Scholarship. This is not based on merit, it's based on your leadership. That does require an additional application, and that is an additional $10,000 per year that can accompany a merit scholarship, therefore going to room and board if you get a full tuition scholarship. We have partial and full athletic scholarship, and for those of you who have either U.S. citizenship or permanent residence, we also will offer need-based aid, and you must complete the FAFSA or the CSS profile. These are Bentley's application deadline dates, and they're self-explanatory. I do, however, want to draw your attention that Bentley is very committed to providing a safe campus for you, and we are definitely going to plan to open our campus for the fall. More detail will come out in the coming days by June 30th, but we have a fabulous NEST program, and you will have a link to that on your site. Thank you very much for supplying the links to those sites, but we're constantly evolving, and we're going to make our campus a safe place. Thank you so much, and I look forward to answering your questions later. I am now going to introduce Chrissy from Loyola Marymount College.
I represent Loyola Marymount University. We are a private Jesuit institution in Los Angeles, California. We are about 5 minutes from the airport, 1 kilometer from the beach, to give you an idea, as Los Angeles is a large metropolitan center. So as you can see in the background, you can see Los Angeles International Airport. We are located here, 1 kilometer from this building. Your feet are at the sand at the beach. If you're familiar with Marina del Rey or Santa Monica or Venice Beach, this is our neighborhood. So again, we're a Jesuit institution, and what this means is it's a values-based education. So we integrate elements of social responsibility into every course, into every activity. And so the 3 tenets of a Jesuit education include encouragement of learning, lifelong learning, education of the whole person. So we know you're not just an academic being, but you're a professional being, you're a social being, you're an emotional being. So we create activities for you and support for all of those elements of who you are. It is incumbent upon the student, however, to engage, to produce that type of development if that should be of interest to them. Also, the 3rd tenet of a Jesuit education is the service of faith and the promotion of justice. In layman's terms, make the world a better place because you're in it. Find a way to give back to your community. So there are 27 Jesuit institutions in the US. We are the one Jesuit institution in Southern California. We have sister schools, Fordham in New York, Georgetown in DC, University of San Francisco in San Francisco. To give you an idea, these are our colleague schools that make up the network of Jesuit schools within the US. So we're a medium-sized institution. We have about 6,600 undergraduate students. So it's medium, it's not large. We have an average class of 20, but I have 1 professor for every 10 students. So this gives you an opportunity to have a mentor-mentee relationship with your professor, while once you leave the classroom, you never run out of new people to meet. And if you are that social being that will know all 6,600 students on campus, you're still in a city of 13 million. We have over 60 majors and over 50 minors. We are most known for anything that Los Angeles is known for. So when you think of Los Angeles, you think of creative economy, you think of film, business, but we're also fabulous at engineering, and we're fabulous at creativity. So we are known for engineering, entrepreneurship, we are known for film production, and theater. These are the types of things that Loyola Marymount is known for, which is also the list that Los Angeles is known for. So we have over 200 clubs and student organizations. We have now almost 21 residence halls. In a few weeks, we will be completing the building of 2 more. Now we have Division I sports. So we are best at the beach sports. So volleyball, baseball, that type of American type of sports. We have about 5,300 on-campus employment positions, so students can also develop themselves as a professional as they are preparing to move into the professional life. We have many internship opportunities that are vetted. We are also number 3 in the US for the amount of hours that our students are logging for community service. This is the idea of a Jesuit education, giving back to your community. We have over 80 study abroad experiences available. So to give you an idea where we're located, again, we're 1 kilometer from the beach, about 5 minutes from the airport. Downtown is about 19 minutes without traffic. Santa Monica and Venice Beach are here. This area is known as Silicon Beach. So Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, etc. are here. SpaceX and Tesla are located here, Raytheon and Boeing here, and a myriad of Fortune 500 companies surrounding campus that I have not yet mentioned. Here is this little tuft of grass. You can see with this list of companies, you could literally ride a bike to an internship at EA Games, Deutsche LA, Facebook, IMAX, and the list goes on. Fun fact about Los Angeles, the city just passed up South Korea to be the center of e-gaming. So if there are any gamers out there, we are now the hub of the world for esports. And we do have an esports team. You can check out our Twitch account if you are so inclined. So career and professional development. If you don't know what you want to study, we will sit down with you, see what you're reading, what you're already doing, to see where the intersectionality of your interests are with your academic giftings. We will help you write a cover letter, write a resume. We will help you answer questions for internship interviews. We provide the mentorship possible so that a student can evolve from high school student to professional. And there are many, many opportunities to develop yourself as a professional on and off campus through internships. I have a first-year student that just completed his first year of engineering physics, and he this summer is doing a virtual internship with Google. As a first-year student, it's a pretty good internship, I would say. So what are my students doing? Where are they going? Well, we have a fabulous employability rate. Each year it changes. Last year, it was 99% employment after 6 months of graduation. This particular class of 2019, they are 97% employed. Where are they going? Here are some icons of where they're working and also some schools where they're going to graduate school. But if you'd like the full list, please visit our site, outcomes.lmu.edu, to find out more. Let's see. What are the application requirements? First, choose an application. We have 3. Choose your English proficiency. You have a choice between TOEFL, IELTS, Pearson's Test of English, Duolingo. You'll need a letter of recommendation. The exciting news is SAT and ACT scores for admission are not required. They are optional. However, for the most generous merit scholarships, they are required. So there's the caveat. We have 2 deadlines for your convenience. One is for early decision and early action, which is November 1st. and the regular decision is January 15th. So if you have further questions, I encourage you to come and chat with me live. We have a website, we are open, international.lmu.edu/visit. You could make an appointment with us. You could come and chat if you have questions, if you'd like to learn more. We have a preview day coming up June 28th. You can also sign up to speak with a current student if you have lingering questions about what it is to study in the US, what it is to study in Los Angeles, and what it is to study at Loyola Marymount University. If you'd like to get in contact with me, of course, here is my information, and we will be answering questions at the end. Before I leave you, I'd like to say we do have scholarships. We have merit scholarships based on your scholarship, so which is awarded to the highest achieving academic students. We have sports scholarships. So if you are on the level of representing your region, your country, then you could possibly qualify for a sports scholarship. We also have need-based aid for US citizens and green card holders. So if you're a permanent resident, if you hold a US passport, you have access to need-based scholarships as well. And the scholarships for international students range from $2,000 to $20,000. That's the global scholarship. And my dean is very generous, and he has a scholarship that covers the full cost of tuition. So tuition, room, and board. Again, that's top 1% to all of the applicants that apply. So if you have any further questions, I'd be happy to answer them at the end of our presentation. And now I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of my colleague, Olivia, from a fabulous creative institution named SCAD.
I'm driven to create.
To be expressive.
To collaborate with only the best and across disciplines.
My mentors are unparalleled in their fields and elevate my artistry, always pushing me forward.
All of us are waiting for you to tell us what's next. You are going to be the generation that changes it all.
I absolutely love SCAD.
I love SCAD too. I love it more than John Krasinski.
SCAD has an absolutely phenomenal reputation. It's this amazing creative hub. You feel the energy behind the students, behind the faculty. It's incredible. It's contagious.
We are global citizens who think beyond borders and boundaries.
And our conversation depends on each other.
It kind of opens your eyes to what the world has to offer, and that's one of my favorite things about SCAD.
I am an artist.
I'm a designer.
I am a performer.
An athlete.
An inventor.
Entrepreneur.
Storyteller.
My SCAD family are the best friends that I have in my life. They are my strongest network still.
It's just a proud thing to say, you know, I'm from SCAD, I graduated from SCAD.
I'm designing my own reality.
And expressing my voice.
Our SCAD story starts here, but never stops.
Thanks to SCAD, my future as a creative professional is real. It's happening.
This is SCAD.
Our hive, our home.
Thanks for joining us today. My name is Olivia Anderson, and I am the Assistant Director of Admission at the Savannah College of Art and Design, also known as SCAD. SCAD was founded in 1978, and for more than 40 creative years, we've grown to become the most comprehensive and connected art and design university in the world. With locations in Atlanta and Savannah, Georgia, Lacoste, France, and online via our SCAD e-learning, from day one, SCAD has served as the preeminent source of knowledge in every discipline that we teach. The university is incredibly diverse, with more than 15,000 students representing all 50 states and more than 100 countries. In fact, 27% of the current SCAD student population is international, representing 118 different countries around the world. We offer more programs of study and specializations than any other art and design university in the US. with more than 100 degree programs across more than 40 majors and more than 75 minors. Some examples of these extraordinary programs include our award-winning fashion department, which consistently earns high praise from the business of fashion, the world's paramount resource for fashion creatives. Our interior design programs ranked #1 in America's best architecture and design schools by Design Intelligence. And our motion media design program, considered the best in the world by the rookies, dubbed the Oscars for creative minds. Our architecture program features the groundbreaking integrated path to architecture licensure, an accelerated academic track that prepares students for a professional license in as few as 7 years, compared to the traditional route of 11 to 15 years. The Hollywood Reporter places our production design program and costume design minor among the top in the nation and the world, with graduates who work at major studios and film companies, as do our illustration graduates, who master multiple forms of animation and production in a program lauded by the Animation Career Review. Career preparation is the foundation of SCAD, as evidenced by our stellar alumni employment rate. 99% of spring 2018 alumni were either employed, seeking further education, or both within 10 months of graduation. And 92% of those alumni are working in a creative field. These extraordinary numbers are a testament to our talented students as well as the value of a SCAD education. SCAD alumni and their work are everywhere. If you've watched the Academy Award-winning film Zootopia or Frozen, then you've already seen the work of a SCAD visual effects alumnus, Mir Zafar Ali. He built immersive and complex digital worlds for other hit films such as Moana, The Incredible Hulk, X-Men First Class, and Spider-Man 3. If you've turned into the Netflix series Godless, then you've seen the star-making turns by SCAD performing art graduate Kylie Carter. She booked her earliest acting gigs through the SCAD Performing Arts Showcase and the SCAD Casting Office, before moving on to major roles in films like Private Life, starring alongside Paul Giamatti and Katherine Hahn. SCAD graduates include graphic design alumna India Hayes, who employs retro-style illustrations to address hot-button political topics, global social issues, and heartwarming human interest stories into graphic packages and animations for CNN. From fashion to industrial design and beyond, SCAD graduates are transforming industries with their signature lines and stellar work, like Honda senior motorcycle designer Eric Dunchie, who has more than 20 patents to his name. Photography graduate An Lee has captured stars like Camila Cabello, Mariah Carey, John Legend, as well as Kate Hudson and Sarah Jessica Parker for GQ, Harper's Bazaar, and Scene. Winner of the 2019 Council of Fashion Designers of America and Vogue Fashion Fund, and the $400,000 cash prize that goes along with it, Christopher John Rogers has quickly ascended to the ranks of the fashion world. Following his graduation from SCAD, Rogers has dressed fashion-forward celebrities like Michelle Obama, Lizzo, and Whoopi Goldberg. At the age of 24, SCAD alumna Valeria Rocha has already been dubbed an artistic genius by pop icon Taylor Swift, who personally recruited Rocha to photograph the iridescent album cover of Lover, as well as the entire arsenal of promotional shots that teased one of the decade's most popular albums. As a student, you'll be able to work with leading companies through SCAD Pro, where students dream up design solutions for global brands. One of our most recent projects required students to plan liftoff stations for aerial ride-sharing network Uber Elevate. In less than a decade, SCAD Pro has hosted more than 500 collaborations with 300+ brand partners, leading to over 190 job offers and 50 products directly to market. The partnership through SCAD Pro frequently results in internships and full-time jobs. Proof that real-world experience will set you apart from the competition and bring your creative career that much closer to reality. When you're accepted into SCAD, you are accepted into all locations and have the option to tailor your own unique experience. In Atlanta, you'll be plugged into the city's bustling Midtown area, close to museums, parks, music venues, concerts, and more. SCAD Atlanta students are tapped into the dynamic film and television scenes in Georgia, one of the top markets for feature film productions in the world. We also have SCAD Lacoste, rich with history and culture of Provence, to inspire all visiting students. As they live and study at a creative retreat in a meticulously preserved hilltop village of stone buildings, some built over 1,000 years ago. From this idyllic home in the French countryside, students travel throughout the region to further their creative passions, including field trips to historic sites, excursions exploring the artistic beauty of Paris, and collaborations with major companies across Europe. And finally, a look at SCAD's landmark location in Savannah, where you'll live, learn, and play in one of the country's most celebrated National Historic Landmark districts. Close to scenic beaches and tropical palm trees of coastal Georgia, SCAD is woven into the fabric of the city, with more than 80 restored buildings throughout Savannah, hosting cutting-edge resources to expand your creativity. We also have SCAD e-learning, which enables you to take classes from anywhere across the globe. The innovative platform features the same classes, renowned faculty, and support services that form the foundation of all SCAD locations. So while you're at home for the summer or completing an internship overseas, you can seamlessly continue your SCAD education online. For those of you who are ready to enroll full-time, SCAD offers rolling admissions. This means that you can apply at any time throughout the year and start at SCAD in September, January, March, or June. The first step in the application process is to complete your application form. Completing the initial application is simple and takes only about 10 minutes. Our admission process is selective, so we do encourage you to submit your application early. As soon as you submit this application form, you will be assigned a personal advisor who will help complete the application with you. You can submit documents such as your high school transcript, proof of English proficiency, as well as supplemental materials such as letters of recommendation and a portfolio if you would like to apply for our portfolio scholarship. We encourage our students to visit us when possible, whether that's virtually or in person. There are many opportunities to experience SCAD firsthand. And you can always connect with us, whether that's through email, phone, or our live agent chat, which is always available on our website. You can choose SCAD for a variety of reasons, whether that's our outstanding academics, our championship sports, which includes esports, or our industry partnerships. But please know that every aspect of SCAD is here to help turn your passion into a profession. If you would like more information or to schedule a one-on-one appointment, here's my contact information. And now I would like to invite the other presenters to come back for a live Q&A session. Thank you very much.
All right, Scott here again. I'll be moderating this Q&A session. We've gathered some of the most important, most often asked questions from the public chat, and this is a chance for our representatives from the various schools to answer them. The first question, which I will start off with Karen from Bentley, is the U.S. universities are quite expensive. Is there any organizations which can offer financial help for those who need it? If yes, where can we find them?
Hi, Scott. I think that question was directed to you, but I do have a list of websites in a Word document that I can send you and you can share with students, and I can also send it to SRT, which is private funding from across the globe to assist students with finding funds to help support the cost of their education.
And you're right, I can also answer part of that question as well. I just to let you know, to learn more about financial aid opportunities, you can check EducationUSA's website. The second step of your 5 steps to US study, financing your studies. On those pages, there are more links to various resources where you can find a lot more information about financial aid for studying in the US.
I've also included a few links in the chat for your convenience.
Excellent, thank you. Okay. Second question, what living cost should international students expect when moving to the USA? Christy, do you want to answer that?
I think that when you are looking at living costs, it's also important to look at the cost of living in the particular city. For example, in some states, the cost of living is a lot less expensive than it would be in some of the major metropolitan centers. So when you're thinking about the cost of living, there's also some ways to offset the cost of living once you're on campus. Some of the opportunities on my campus include applying to become a resident director, an RA, we call them. And that gives you a scholarship for your room and board, meaning that you don't have rent and your food is paid for. And you do get an hourly rate, so 20 hours a week you are paid, so you also have pocket money. So there are some opportunities to also offset some of those living costs when you're considering a university. So when you're thinking of the living costs at a university, you can see how much the living costs are to live on campus. I would also recommend doing a quick research on what costs of rent would be in the surrounding areas to give you an idea what you might be paying in the surrounding areas. Universities will have pages that will connect students in order for them to find roommates and other cooperative living organizations and opportunities. So just some ideas of how to assess how much living would cost in a particular area and how to offset some of those costs.
Great, thank you. Okay, next one. I think this could be a group pursuit to answer this one. Do you help us with the visa if we don't have one yet? What is the first thing I need to do? So the first thing starts with, I suppose, it starts with the I-20. The student getting the form I-20 after being admitted. Olivia, would you like to speak a little bit about what the I-20 is, what that means for students?
Sure, absolutely. So you'll have to submit some financial documents, and the process, I know for SCAD we have your personal advisor, which is going to help you through that process. And we ensure that you basically have finances that proves your capability to support yourself while attending an institution, and that is sent to the US government, which then we will mail you an I-20, which enables you to set up a visa appointment with your local consulate.
Yes, and once you have that I-20, you can communicate with your local EducationUSA office, and if they haven't already advised you on setting up that meeting with your local consulate at the US Embassy, then they will absolutely help you through that process on how to set that up. Anything else to add about this visa topic?
I think you covered it.
The only piece I would say is every institution works diligently to help you through the process. So if they need to contact embassies overseas for you, they're going to go through any means they possibly can to support you. So you're not in this alone.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, next few questions are sort of like a lightning round for you, Karen. Number fourth question. What changes will the international students face due to coronavirus?
That is a loaded question. I'm going to do my best to answer it because there's 4,000 universities in the United States, and we all have different policies based on our actual physical locations. An enclosed campus is going to have more flexibility, where a campus which is in a city that has apartment buildings and restaurants by its side is going to have a very different policy. I stress that because you need to be fluid. So I can answer this with respect to Bentley, but I'm sure my colleagues will want to chime in because their campuses are different. So we're hoping to have a hybrid model. In fact, my fingers are crossed because there is, being in the Boston area where we actually have a hospital that's ranked #1 in the world and some great research facilities. We're very close. We're now at stage 3 in testing a vaccine. So rumor has it, it might be ready by January. With that said, on our campus, we're hoping to have a hybrid environment where students will probably be living in single rooms. So we'll have less accommodations, but we'll also have a separate facility because wishful thinking is that there will be no cases on our campus, but as they emerge, they will have a certain location to be in. We're looking at our classrooms. We only build our classrooms to fit 30 students. So as you can imagine, then keeping students 6 feet apart will be a little more challenging than institutions that may have large lecture halls. But what we will do is have a hybrid format. So one day you might be in class, the second day you might be taking that class from your classroom or a library room, what have you. We will have hot meals that will be plated rather than you going through a buffet style in order to secure your safety. Of course, everyone will have masks and the proper medical care. We do have a doctor full-time on our staff to help students as well. So it's not an issue exclusively for just international students, it's an issue for all students. And because we have that hybrid format, for those of you, we know that embassies are delayed in opening, we know that there are delays in getting your visa. We would encourage you in those situations to start your semester online, and as soon as your visa becomes available, we'll issue a new I-20 so you can then come to the States and just immediately transfer or transition into that in-class environment as opposed to just working exclusively remotely. As you can imagine, at this point, it's very fluid because things are changing by the day. Where we're on the decline, we're seeing other states in the United States on the rise with cases. So we are hoping for the new normal of being a hybrid environment. And then hopefully by next semester, if in fact that vaccine does prove fruitful, then it will be business as usual. I don't know if my colleagues want
Sure,
to
I
chime
think
in on
that
that
all
one.
of the universities in the US are really taking an individualized approach to this. For example, here in California, we have large systems of education, California State University, that have moved to an entirely online format. Our colleagues down the road, UCLA, they are also contemplating that looks like they may be having in-class sessions as well. USC, University of Southern California, who is also right down the street from where we are, they are having in-class face-to-face sessions. Now, Loyola Marymount, we have 6,600 students. Therefore, it's easier for us to be able to make the necessary preparations to have social distancing. We have a smaller controlled environment. And so much like Sweden used a herd immunity approach in the sense that everyone else closed down their economies because they were smaller and it was manageable, this is sort of the approach that we are taking in the sense where we don't have to close completely. Now we have in the spring, but we are bringing students back in the fall. Again, students will probably be in their individual rooms. There will be changes in the way that the catering will be delivered, etc. So all of very similar types of preventative measures are in place. Now, the university is working very closely with Dr. Barbara Ferrer, who is the director for County of Public Health in Los Angeles. We're working together with the mayor, Eric Garcetti. We have the study of the city of Los Angeles on campus, so there's a synergistic relationship. So we're not making these decisions in a vacuum, and I don't think any of our colleague institutions are making decisions in a vacuum. We are
working in concert with the authorities, with the CDC, with the local and federal government in order to assure safety, because our two governing policies are campus safety, so community safety, and student experience. So we will be basing all of our decisions on ensuring that both of those are the top priorities.
And I would just say that SCAD is very similar to both Loyola and Bentley. We do have a special task force that is responsible for taking steps to make sure we're fully prepared for our students in the fall. We are ready to be on ground, but we're taking steps with residential halls, ensuring that we have enhanced cleaning, PPE requirements, as well as testing, tracing, and self-monitoring. So it'll be very similar in that respect. And it also is convenient for students that we do offer our e-learning platform. So if they do have any issues with visas, they can always begin online and then later come to campus.
All right, thank you all for those great answers to that very important question. Next question, back to you, Karen. Are there any differences in application process for EU and non-EU students?
Not at Bentley University, whether you are EU or non-EU, whether you are international or domestic, we are a common application school. So we would be accepting the common application form for any student.
And I
think that may hold true for
at Loyola and SCAD. Any differences between EU and non-EU applicants?
So between EU and non-EU, there is no difference. Mostly it's on our end on how we treat your data, as there are different laws. So the only difference is really the back office, how we protect your information. The only difference between you and a domestic student, frankly, is just the requirement of showing English proficiency. That is truly the only difference between someone that grew up in Los Angeles applying to Loyola Marymount and someone that was born in Beijing that is applying to Loyola Marymount.
And for SCAD, there's no difference between EU and non-EU applicants. I would say really the only difference between international and domestic is qualifications for financial aid, and our domestic students are required to take the SAT and ACT, and international students are not.
Great. Okay. Next question. After graduating from a US college or university, can I stay there and get a job after I graduate, or do I have to come back to my country? I can say really quickly, there is, in a lot of cases, OPT, which is optional practical training, which will allow a graduate, whether you have a bachelor degree, a master's degree, PhD, it will allow you to work for a year in a field that is related to what you studied anywhere in the United States. And in some cases, if you have a STEM degree, a science, technology, engineering, or math degree, you may be able to apply to work even longer in the United States. But any specific examples of this, of your alumni getting jobs in the US after they graduated?
Sure. I have a Brazilian student that just graduated last May. And 6 months later, he graduated with an engineering degree and is working for a local firm here in Los Angeles. And 6 months after he was hired, they requested that he not return to his country and told him that they were going to be sponsoring him through the H-1B process. And so, you know, this is just a recent student that has just graduated. I think that's quite remarkable considering he was only on the job for about 6 months, but it happens. And the student was from Sao Paulo.
I can say we run a survey. We have a very high response rate of our survey. After graduation, we have a 98% response rate of all of our graduates, and nearly 100% get jobs after graduation. That's why our career service centers rank #3 in the United States for having the highest job placement rate in the country. Our average starting salaries for our international students are $60,000 per year. Those in computer information systems, actuarial sciences, finance and economics, their starting salaries are over $100,000 a year. Similar to what was just described to you with Loyola, we have had students who, even during COVID time this year, international students whose internships turned into jobs and are working remotely for EY, Morgan Stanley, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Google, Apple. So our students are still getting jobs, even in these more challenging times. But last year we were at a 99% job placement rate of all of our graduates.
Yes, and I would say that being able to work in the US is a huge factor that students take into consideration when applying here. For SCAD, many of our students do take advantage of that with OPT. We also have several majors that fall under STEAM, which is going to allow you to potentially extend that OPT to 3 years. We also have career advisors. Every single student is given a career advisor, and you do have access to that person for the rest of your life. So at any point, you can come back to SCAD. We have over 45,000 alumni worldwide, and we will help you gain a job in the industry, or even if you're wanting to reevaluate your career, we're here to support our students.
Awesome, thank you. Next question. My English level is B2. Any problem? And I think the quick answer to that is always going to be, it depends, right? It depends on where you apply. It depends on the school's specific English requirements. But how about at your institutions? Maybe you speak quickly about your language requirements for application.
I guess I will start. At Bentley University, if English is not your first language, regardless if you're studying in the United States or abroad, you will need to demonstrate your proficiency by taking one of the following 3 exams: TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. So a B2, we do not look at the English leveling exams, so you would need to take one of those 3 to prove your proficiency.
Sure. Very similarly, we accept a variety of different tests for proof of English proficiency. So again, Duolingo, Pearson's Test of English, TOEFL. We also would consider students that are taking the International Baccalaureate if they are scoring at 5 or above in English. Not English, ESL English, but the true English composition, etc. Those are the types of English proficiency that we accept. However, students that are not able to qualify for our minimum scores, we do encourage a local community college or UCLA Extension or ELS, which are English language schools. And if they score a B or higher in English for academic purposes, we also take that into consideration as well, and that does provide you with proof of English proficiency.
So at SCAD, oh, thank you. Thanks, Scott. So at SCAD, we accept the TOEFL, the IELTS, SAT, ACT, PTE, and we're currently accepting Duolingo. There also are a few exceptions to that rule, and you can find more information on our website. If you're looking for an equivalency, it ends up being between a high B2 and a low C1 is the score range that we're looking for. Now, if you don't reach that requirement, that is okay. We do offer ESL courses that you can take at SCAD before you begin your degree. So really, we're asking for that proof of English proficiency to see if you are ESL exempt. If you are accepted and not exempt, as I said before, you just take those ESL classes and then you begin your degree.
Great, thank you all. All right, next we do have some attendees in the audience today who are curious about master's programs, graduate schools. So just could you say a few words about master programs at your institution, starting with Karen?
Absolutely. We do offer both master's and graduate degrees, PhD degrees at Bentley. Unique, or maybe not too unique to our school. If a student looks at us to major in finance, for example, or eco-finance, or one of our other dual undergrad degrees, they can actually pursue and fulfill a master's in finance and complete both their bachelor's and their master's in 4 years. For all our other master's degree options, and they're all business related, so you would be combining that with your undergrad degree. You can complete both your bachelor's and your master's in any other field other than finance in 5 years. And we do have PhDs. You can also apply to Bentley directly into any of our master's degree programs if you have already completed a bachelor's degree. And in both scenarios, whether you're looking at bachelor's moving directly into a master's or starting at the master's level, we do require the GRE or GMAT for the graduate school, and we do offer full tuition scholarships at the graduate school level. The only way you would have those waived, those standardized test results at the graduate school, is if you embarked with us as an undergrad and then went right through the process for earning both a bachelor's and a master's.
So at Loyola Marymount, we do have master's degrees and we have terminal degrees as well. Most of our master's degrees focus on engineering and sciences, business, and the creative arts. We also have terminal degree in education. So if you're looking for a degree in those areas, I can provide you with more information. Each of the programs has its own list of requirements. Some of them do not require GRE or GMAT. So I would encourage you to get in touch with me for further information, and I'd be happy to provide you with a quick, short, one-page document so that you can whet your appetite to see if you want to learn more.
And at SCAD, we have over 60 graduate degree programs, and that spans across 36 creative disciplines. We also have a program called GradPath that does allow you to enter as an undergraduate and complete a graduate degree in 4 to 5 years, depending upon the program. The real difference in the application process is going to be that portfolio. For undergraduates, our portfolio is for scholarship consideration rather than admission to the university. And for the graduate degree, you must have a portfolio that is specific to the program you're applying for.
All right, thanks. All right, next question is, what is a merit scholarship? So first of all, a merit scholarship is a scholarship that a school may give you because you show that you are a person of merit. Maybe you have really good grades in high school, or maybe you have a lot of cool extracurricular activities, or you did really well on a test. It's going to depend on what the school decides for its policy on whether or not it awards students merit scholarship. And while you're looking at financial aid opportunities and scholarships offered by schools, just be sure to always read the fine print, because you may find schools that only have merit scholarships available to international students, for example. I mean, only domestic students, for example, and that is not so good for you, but keep that in mind. But at your institutions, Karen, what do you have merit scholarships?
We do. We offer up to full tuition scholarships to international students and U.S. citizens abroad, as well as those within the U.S. and permanent residents. It's strictly based on their application. So the better job you do in completing your application, and obviously it's merit-based, so we look at rigor of curriculum as well as academic performance over every year, not just your final year. Those will help us determine how much money we would award. I'm excited to share last year for this fall, over 75% of our international students that we admitted were awarded some type of merit scholarship. And as I said, it covers up to full tuition. So that's how our merit works. We also, as I noted earlier, have non-merit scholarships that are targeted to women specifically, and that's our Women's Leadership Program. And that does require an additional application, and that can be added to any merit award. And we also have athletic scholarships that for certain sports will cover full tuition, room and board, other sports partial scholarship amounts, and that too can be added to merit awards. So for us, we have 3 different types.
Great. Christy?
So very similarly at Loyola Marymount, we have academic scholarships, and it's based on your academic performance. Last year, we awarded about $2 million to our international students. We also awarded a few full tuition, room and board scholarships to students from around the globe. We don't care what color your passport is. If you're a high achieving student, we will incentivize you to enroll at Loyola Marymount if we should be the right fit for you. We also have sports scholarships, athletic scholarships. I do not administer those. Those are administered by the athletic departments. And if you're interested in those programs or opportunities for those scholarships, I encourage you to reach out to each of the institutions that you're interested in, send them a link to your reel, that 90-second, 60 to 90-second video of your performance and your accolades, so that we can pass it on to our coaches. If the coaches reach out to you, that's a great sign. If they do not respond, that's also a sign. So there are academic scholarships, there's athletic scholarships, and then there are a few very more modest scholarships available for students of a certain demographic, etc.
So at SCAD, we are very similar. We offer a scholarship for your academic records, and that has quite a large range. And then we have another scholarship based on your portfolio. So this is the academic scholarship as well as the achievement scholarship. And we stack those 2 scholarships together. So together that range is between $1,000 all the way up to 2/3 of your tuition. Now all applicants are automatically evaluated for that academic scholarship. And we do offer a couple full tuition scholarships. Now these are very competitive. We're looking for a stellar academic performance as well as portfolio, and all students again are automatically evaluated for this, and we will contact you if you're eligible for this scholarship and ask for further documentation or perhaps an interview process.
Great, thank you. Next question is, should I pay every semester, or how does it work? So I think that's a useful thing people want to figure out, is how often should they pay you, right? What does that look like, Karen?
I think every university is different. It depends on how their system, their student account system is set up. At Bentley, we have students that traditionally pursue 3 options. They and their families can choose to pay monthly, they can choose to pay by semester, or they can make one annual payment. I would say the most common is the monthly option or the semester option.
At Loyola Marymount, it's similar. So students generally will pay for the semester all at one time. However, families have the choice of paying per semester or doing a 5-month payment plan for each semester.
And at SCAD, our students mainly pay on a quarterly basis. We're on the quarter system rather than semester. So each quarter is 10 weeks, but students do have the option to enroll in a payment plan, which would divide each quarter payment into 3 sections.
Great, good to know, thank you. Now the next question I believe has already been touched on, so maybe just briefly, it is, do international students have more chances after graduation? And it was in regards to employment, I remember from the public chat. And certainly, if you're wondering about employment opportunities in your home country, absolutely reach out to your local Education USA advisors, because they have the information about what life is like in your home country when you come home with a US degree. But anything to add to that? Anyone?
Yeah, we sort of went over our employment rates here at each of our schools. Every year it changes at Loyola Marymount, and we have the last 5 years posted on our website, outcomes.lmu.edu, including where students are working, where they're going to graduate school, how much they're earning, if they're working in the private sector, if they're working for a nonprofit, if they've gone into the military. So if you'd like that broken down information, you can break it down even by school. So if you want to see students that have studied in the creative arts, to see how much they're making, where they're working, etc. If you want to see how much students are making in the sciences. So we allow you to drill down and get the small bit of information that you are interested in on this website. Again, outcomes.lmu.edu, and it is inclusive of our international students. And we are at 97% employment for this last class. The class before, we were at 99. I believe the year before that, we were also at 97. So if you'd like more information, again, outcomes.lmu.edu.
And one thing I will add for SCAD is, yes, there absolutely is an advantage of accessibility, particularly when you're looking at our campus in Atlanta. It's located in the heart of Midtown, so you really do have access to those Fortune 500 companies. Many of our students are actually walking to their internships. For the film and television industry, it's a great opportunity to work, to have that internship while still studying, and those internships often do lead to job offers. So it's very, very accessible, and you do have many, many opportunities. As mentioned before, the past 2 years for us has been a 99% of our students are either seeking further education or they are employed within 10 months of graduating.
And the only piece I would add is because of our corporate partnerships, and we have companies like Google and Converse and Ford Motor Company and governments and nonprofit organizations that physically come in and co-teach in our classrooms. These companies get to see the abilities of the students, and you would see that many of these students are earning more than half, are being able to prove themselves in the classroom. And this is why we have such a high job placement rate, like my colleagues, because the companies are getting to know your abilities, not just through the internship option, but also through the classroom option as well. And our entire philosophy of teaching is experiential learning. We don't have lecture halls, so you're constantly being able to demonstrate your abilities that provide more opportunities for you upon graduation.
All right, thank you. Next question is, can we take student loans even though we are not residents of the US? First off, to answer that is there are absolutely private organizations that offer student loans, and it is quite challenging for international students to get those student loans if they don't have a US co-signer on the loan as well. But also some universities can offer institutional student loans to international students. Is that true for any of your institutions? Do you have institutional student loans?
At Bentley, we do not have institutional student loans. However, we do work with a outside vendor, so you don't need the co-signer of a US citizen. And usually those loans aren't available till after you've completed 2 full years at Bentley, and would apply to your final 2 years.
Very similarly.
I'm sorry, but 85% of our students are getting paid for their internships. So I'm finding students in a summer internship will make on average $18,000, and that and I'm speaking specifically to our international students, so that also helps cover costs.
It's very similar at Loyola Marymount, and once you have completed a year of study in the US, you are allowed to work in the summertime full-time. So it's very similar situation at Loyola Marymount. Once again, outside vendor would be able to sort of circumvent the requirement of a cosigner. But we do not have institutional loans for international students, but we do have them for green card holders, permanent residents, US citizens.
And at SCAD, we do not have institutional student loans for international students, but something to keep in mind is you can sometimes get a loan with a US citizen cosigner. And we also have those scholarships that I mentioned before are a primary means of financial support for students, with 80% of entering students receiving some form of financial support.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next question. I believe you, perhaps all three of you spoke about this. You brought this up in each of your presentations, but here's another chance to talk about it. Do you have any exchange programs? Any chances for your students to do some exchange study elsewhere? Karen?
Yes, in fact, 50% of our students every year participate in an exchange program abroad. So we have over 85 programs in 30 different countries. We also have programs that are embedded with a faculty course. So you can go and study finance and accounting in China, or look at tourism trends in Germany, or look at fashion in Milan. We also add internships to these. So those of you who are interested in maybe business and economics as well as government, you could go to London School of Economics and have an internship at Parliament. They're constantly evolving, and they're in very many different formats. So it could be for a semester, a summer, a year, an embedded program, or a short-term program.
So at Loyola Marymount, we have 80 programs that are continuously running. We have each year probably about 20 different programs that are seasonal. Each of these opportunities could go from 2 weeks to the full year. We contract with our sister schools, Jesuit institutions around the world. So there are more than 150 Jesuit institutions around the world. If you wanted to study at a Jesuit institution in XYZ country, that also goes through our study abroad office. We also have some programs that focus on more of a social justice aspect. So if you wanted to bring social justice and or consciousness into your study abroad program, we have some programs that are focused on anti-human trafficking, that are focused on biodiversity in Central America, bringing down the carbon footprint of a university, for example, in Costa Rica. So there are lots of different types of programs in addition to duration and country. So if you're looking for a specific type of enriching program, we also have some of those options as well.
In terms of an exchange program with another institution, SCAD doesn't offer that, but we do have study abroad at our Lacoste campus, as mentioned in the presentation. And we have our SCAD program where those companies are coming to us with design problems, and our students are formed in a team and use one of their classes to solve those problems.
Excellent. Sounds good. Just a couple more general questions, and then we can get into a few major specific questions. But first, could you speak again or show again the deadlines for your 3 universities, the application deadlines?
Sure. Our application deadlines, we have 3 of them. November 15th is our application deadline date for early decision 1. That's a binding contract, and you will learn your decision by the latter part of December. On January 7th, it's our application deadline date for both early decision 2, which is a binding contract, and you will learn your decision by February 1st. It's also the same deadline date for our regular applicants, which is non-binding, and you will learn your decision by the end of March. We also, and that's for fall 2021. We also have a January 2021 intake, and that application deadline date is November 1st.
Similarly, coming up, we have a deadline for January. That's October 15th. So if you would like to come to sunny Southern California in January, you would need to apply by October 15th, and you would receive a response by November 15th. We have early action and early decision deadlines for fall 2021, and that deadline is November 1st, and you will hear back by the end of December. Regular decision deadline for fall of 2021 is January 15th, and we ensure that the sooner you apply, the sooner you'll show back, definitely by the end of March.
And for SCAD, we actually operate on rolling admissions. So what that means is we accept applications all year round, and you can start at any one of our quarters. So that's fall, winter, spring, or summer. Now, we do recommend that international students apply at least 60 days before the start of classes to really ensure enough time to gain a student visa as well as SCAD to evaluate your application. But that being said, we have worked closer to the deadline. We're very, very flexible and ready to accommodate our students' needs, particularly with that e-learning program. If you do have an issue with the student visa, you can always start online and come back to campus. Now, it does benefit you to apply as early as you can, simply because we have competitive admissions. You receive information about your scholarship. You can apply for housing. It's always a good thing to apply earlier rather than sooner.
Excellent. Last big general question, a very, very popular question with a very complicated answer. Will I have a higher chance of getting in if I have a decent SAT score or ACT score? Is 1500 on SAT enough for a full scholarship? Right.
So I'll start with this. Let me say that for the 2021 application year, Bentley is test optional, so we don't need your SAT or your ACT. So it makes that first question, if you have a higher chance of gaining admission, a moot point. Is 1500 on SAT enough for a full scholarship? We pride ourselves in holistic review. So one could have a 1500 score on an SAT and perform poorly academically. So in that case, the answer would be no. If someone had a 1500 SAT score and had stellar academic grades, stellar academic performance throughout secondary school in a rigorous curriculum, and had a fabulous personal side with recommendation letters, it would make you more competitive for a full scholarship. But as you can see from my brief definition, we take every component into consideration. So next year, without being SAT, or I should say, without requiring an SAT or an ACT, and by the way, for international students, we're historically SAT, ACT flexible. It's just next year we're optional. Then I would say more and more emphasis is going to be placed on your academic excellence, the rigor of your curriculum, and your entire personal side to compete for one of those full scholarships.
And once again, very similarly at Loyola Marymount, we have been test optional for a number of years. So once again, if you have a great score, sure, submit it. If it corroborates your academic performance in high school, would you have access to a scholarship with a 1500? The likelihood of that would be pretty high, but the range that you would be awarded would be dependent on the applicant pool. So if what we're expecting this year is, because a lot of students from the class of 2020 have deferred their enrollment to the class or till fall 2021, we are looking we are anticipating lots of competition for scholarships for next fall. So this is the caveat. Will a 1500 be competitive to score a full tuition, room and board scholarship? Perhaps, if you have the full package, as Karen was saying, if you have fabulous academics, if you have a fabulous story to tell of who you are as a person, it could work out for you. Yes, I know 2 years ago, I had a student with that exact score, with fabulous academics, and again, had an amazing story to tell. He is on full scholarship and was the student that I mentioned that is currently doing an internship virtually with Google this summer. Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it for sure? I don't think anyone here can give you a for sure answer. The answer is always going to be, it depends. But try and keep in touch, and we'll see if we can work with you.
Yeah, and I would just add that at SCAD, that SAT is not mandatory, so we really are going to be looking more at your academic grades. Now, if that score, as mentioned, really gives that full picture of yourself and supports your academic grades, fantastic. Always submit that. And yes, you have a good possibility of receiving scholarship with a score and academic level of such, but as mentioned before, it's never really a guarantee until we see that full application.
Awesome, great. So we can move on to a few specific questions about degrees offered at your institutions. But please, everyone that can hear me now, if you want to know more about the specific degrees offered, be sure to download the brochures that were offered during this webinar, and also reach out to Karen, Christy, Olivia, and their colleagues. But in our EducationUSA offices, we always advise our students, if you can find the answer to your question on their website, then you probably shouldn't email them with that question, right? So be sure to do your research before you start bombarding their inboxes. They can tell you that that's not true, but I'll leave that up to them specifically. Now, when it comes to degrees, I think one degree that's really important, maybe two of them that's really important to talk about in some length, is a medicine degree, because I know it is quite different in Southeastern Europe to get a medicine degree than it is to get a medicine degree in the US. In the US, you do not begin your undergraduate career with a quote unquote medicine degree. It's more of like a pre-med degree, such as biology or chemistry or biochemistry or what have you. But anything that you think is very important to add to this idea of a medicine degree in the US?
I think if you're going to be studying medicine, I always advise students you should be studying medicine where you would like to be practicing your medicine, because even within the United States, each of the states has a different test that certifies, are called boards, for doctors. So if I have a California board licensure, I cannot practice in New York without having a New York licensure. So something to keep in mind is the reality of the medical programs here are highly, highly competitive, and the admission rate is very, very low. And if you do not have American citizenship, if you do not have permanent residency, it can be very, very challenging in order to gain access to a medical school. So this is not the news that you want to hear, but there are some schools that do admit international students, but the numbers are very few. So that's the reality of studying medicine in the US. I do have friends that have studied medicine in other countries. My good friend from Bogota that then completed her residency here in the US, in New Jersey. And now she is still studying or still practicing in New Jersey. So is it possible to study medicine in the US? Yes, it is theoretically possible. Is it likely? Karen, you want to give that blow? It's highly unlikely.
The acceptance rate of international school students applying to medical schools in the United States is about 2% across the board.
Thank you, Karen.
That's the average. So that is the blow that I'm providing. And I have to agree with Olivia because I too have a colleague who did their medical studies outside of the United States, ironically also from Columbia, and is now at Children's Hospital in Boston, where she did her residency, had to take a couple of more classes in order to be board certified in the US, but has been a practicing physician now here for over 10 years.
Can you get a medical degree after attending one of our schools? Yes. The student body president for Harvard Medical School is an LMU alumni. Her name is Lash. She's also the first African-American female to lead the student body at Harvard Medical School. So is it possible to get a medical degree from one of our institutions? Yes. But you probably will need either a residency or citizenship in order to move forward.
Great, thank you. There's a question, do you have a psychology degree? I believe that's a very common degree that is offered, and maybe the more important question is, what do you plan to do with that psychology degree? That's the more complicated question. Do any of you not have a psychology degree?
At Bentley, we do not have a psychology major. We have a health studies major, where psychology is a concentration within it. And yes, people go on to earn their PhDs or a master's in psychology, but it's not exclusively psychology. And being a business school, even our health studies majors will be taking courses in business.
And SCAD also does not offer a psychology major. Now, you will have the opportunity to take psychology course in your foundational courses as a freshman, but no, there is no psychology major.
Excellent. All right. What about IT or computer science? How about that one? That's a popular program these days. Yes. Raise your hand if you have IT or computer science.
For us, we call it computer information systems. It competes with MIT's program when they rank these majors. We're in the top 15. We have the highest job placement rate in that industry with starting salaries over $90,000 a year. So that's Bentley.
So computer science, yes, we have computer science. We have data analytics. We have, you could do research with Tesla. You could participate in the Hyperloop contest with Tesla. You could do an internship at SpaceX. We're, again, surrounded by Google, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. They're calling where we are Silicon Beach. You could get on a bicycle and literally roll down the bluff, not pedal, and hit EA games. So not only is there, do we have the major, but we have lots of opportunities for you to get the hands-on experience in the surrounding communities in order to land a job at these types of places once you are done with your studies. Anecdotally, I did have a team of students that participated in the Hyperloop contest, if you're familiar. It's SpaceX's
brainchild of trying to connect Los Angeles and San Francisco, which is about a 6-hour drive, and they want to cut that down to 20 minutes. They want to use a vacuum tube, and they want to put people in a pod and shoot them from one city to the next. They don't have the technology yet, so they open it up to all universities in the world to apply. In the US, there are 4,000. They admit 100 universities. We had a team that submitted to be a part of the program, and they were admitted, and they beat out universities like MIT and placed in some of the final rounds. The team was made up of engineers and computer scientists, and the computer scientist that put together the team was a junior that year, and that next year, his senior year, he was working full-time at Tesla. So these are the types of anecdotal and experiential learning types of experiences that you can have once you are in a center of innovation, technology, and business like Los Angeles.
One thing I would add to that is sometimes students come to us and say they're interested in computer science. And while we don't offer a computer science major, we do offer majors such as immersive reality. There are a lot of different paths you can take in the creative industry that don't necessarily fit that computer science title, but they are very related, and you can combine your love of that right-hand side of the brain that's maybe interested in the coding and computer science with the creative aspect of it as well.
Thank you. Okay, here's sort of maybe it's another general question. The question is, can I study business, economics, and fashion design at the same time? And maybe a good question is, how much can you study at the same time? What is possible? How much would anyone want to study at the same time? I know for me personally, I did end up getting 2 bachelor's degrees, but there was only about 1 semester of overlap between those 2 degrees, and that was pretty crazy for me. But people who are real go-getters seem to be able to handle it pretty well.
So that was business,
economics,
and fashion design.
Yes.
Yes. So there are schools that have all of those. We have business and economics at quite a high level. We also have a contract of dual enrollment with another art institution about a half a mile from us called Otis College of Art and Design, where these art students can come and enroll in business and language classes and some of the classes that the Art Institute does not offer. And our students can then enroll in some of these courses, the Kirigami courses, and these courses that are much more art related that we don't offer on campus. So a student that was interested in all 3 of those would be able to complete the business econ on our campus, and then do the fashion design courses just down the road at Otis College of Art and Design. Possible? Yes, it's possible.
At Bentley, we have it slightly different, but it's possible. We've combined business and economics to be a single double major, so it's called managerial economics. So that's easy because we teach through experiential learning. The fashion design piece would be executed through internships and application, not in coursework. So for example, one of our graduates was highlighted in New York for being the first African-American woman in the United States to have her own launching of her fashion design and doing a runway in New York City for her designs that incorporate style with a contemporary global design. And so it can be done, but for us, that fashion design piece would be executed through the internship and the application process.
And at SCAD, we have a program, a major called Fashion Marketing and Management, and it's a really great combination of fashion as well as business. You get to see both sides of that. We also have students often doing majors as well as minors, so that allows you to do maybe a business minor as well as that creative major. And you do have the opportunity to do a double major if you want, multiple minors. It's really up to you, and you're given a student success advisor that can help you plan this out and understand the realities of doing those multiple majors or minors, because yes, it can get very hectic And it also can be very rewarding, so it's up to you and your schedule and what you are trying to achieve for your career.
Great. Thank you. And just one final question, I promise, but I think this is a classic question and it deserves the answer. This is a take on the classic question, do I have to study math if, right? There's a lot of people wondering, do I have to study math? So in this case, do I have to study math if I study interior design? I suppose the answer is it depends, but I don't have much knowledge of interior design myself. So what do you think?
I defer to Olivia.
This particular question, with interior design, you can always see the list of courses on SCAD's website. It will give you that specific list, and each one you can click on it and it will give a course description. Now with math, you do have to take some foundational and core courses that first year as a freshman student, and you do have to take a math class. The rest of your interior design major is not going to be focused heavily in math though, so you can explore those courses online.
And all I can say for Bentley is because we don't have a major in interior design, regardless of what major you're looking at Bentley, you must take calculus upon arrival. So math is a critical course at our institution.
So we don't have the major either, but if you're going into business, you must take business calculus, and if you're going into the soft sciences, you take another type of math, but you have to study math. I'm sorry.
And math is good. All you need is one good math teacher and then you're in the game.
Measurements, right? You have to measure that room to get that right furniture in there.
All right, that is all the questions. Thank you so much. Would any of you like an opportunity to make any closing statements? Any farewell thoughts?
Just to say thank you to everyone for taking your time to see us, to attend this presentation. Miriam, I love you, I miss you. And everyone else out there, thank you again so much. And if you have further questions, just reach out.
I ditto that, not to be too verbose, but thank you very much for taking the time. And we're all here for you. So please email us if you have any questions, and we'll be eager to work with you. We also do virtual one-on-one conversations. So if you want more and a personalized conversation, please outreach to us and we'll do that with you as well.
Yes, thank you so much for attending, and we really, really do want to help you. So please know you always have support. Reach out to those admissions counselors. We're here to help you.
Thank you very much.
Unfortunately, yes, we're getting to the end. Thank you so much, Christy and Olivia, for your time today from East and West Coast, and Scott from Belgrade. Actually, you and I have been behind the scene from different parts of Europe. So has been our amazing audience today. Guys, we have never had a webinar going on for 2 hours, and that's because of your incredible questions. So you have been absolutely amazing, and we thank you so much for starting your week with so much curiosity. If you want to continue your chat with Christy and Olivia, we have later tonight another webinar, and you can ask any further questions that couldn't be answered today, but I think Scott has been just over the top, making sure that every single question was answered. So thanks so much for that, Scott. Hope to see you again soon, and hope to see our beautiful audience in their home countries, because we really miss traveling. We miss visiting your schools. I've seen a lot of friends here today from a lot of schools that we would usually go to, from Mexico, from Madrid. So guys, we really miss you, and hope to see you soon. Scott, shall we play that video once again for everyone who couldn't join us straight from the beginning?
Yes, let's play it.
Let's play that. And again, SRT, Education USA, Bentley, Loyola Marymount, and SCAD. Thank you so much for being here today, and have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Katie, and I'm going to share with you Education USA's 5 steps to study in the US. Step 1. Research your options. The first step to study in the United States is researching your options to find a college or a university that best fits your needs. You shouldn't try to match yourself to the school, but rather find the school that matches you and your priorities and long-term goals. Step 2. Finance your studies. Start your financial planning as early as possible. Each year, international students receive significant amounts of financial assistance for their studies. With the right amount of planning and research, pursuing a U.S. higher education can be made affordable. Step 3. Complete your application. Applying for U.S. study is a task that takes time and concentration, as each application is different and involves collecting recommendations, writing essays, and routing the results of required standard examinations. Plan to give this step the time it deserves for a successful result. Step 4. Apply for your student visa. Information pertaining to visas and travel can be found on the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Consular Affairs website and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Study in the States website. Step 5. Prepare for your departure. Key components to this final step include making your travel arrangements, attending a pre-departure orientation at your local EducationUSA center or online, gathering pre-departure materials and documents for arrival, as well as reporting to your school and attending orientations. Still have questions? Go to educationusa.state.gov for more information